What is going on, Nuggets Nation, NBA fans? I realized I didn't say that last episode, so we're going to say it today. Welcome back to Nuggets Today. I'm Tom Leuthner. We have some news to cover today, and it might not be the best news, and I think that's what we all know, obviously what happened yesterday, and that is that Russell Westbrook officially opted out, which means that Denver does not have his rights next year, and he's officially an unrestricted free agent. Now, I am upset about it. I think his option for next year was $3.5 million, which means Denver needs to go out now and find a point guard. And that's some things that we're going to cover here today, obviously. And there's going to be more coverage of it tomorrow. But I just don't like not having a backup point guard. And I know that I was very harsh with Russ last year. And it's tough not to be, obviously. But the guy was playing through a broken hand without saying anything. He was obviously a little bit of a liability when it came to the playoffs, when it came to shooting. But at the same time, you're not going to find a point guard that good, that cheap, obviously. So it is a little upsetting seeing that, Russ is officially gone. But there are potential backups. And shout out to RB in the comments last episode who asked how I felt about Bruce Brown being the backup. And I wouldn't mind it. If Bruce is able to come in and play a backup point guard role, I would love it. Especially because right now Denver's lacking it. I think there are some guys that could go out and be that, like Jalen Pickett. But I wouldn't mind Bruce Brown as a backup point guard. Again, it would come down to now what Denver's going to need. This sort of leaves Denver in a tough situation because at the same time now you have to go out and sign more than two guys that are, now you're three steps away from a championship rather than two bench players or two signings away. So it is tough. Again, Russ is awesome. The energy he brought, the defense he brought, the intensity. Iconic moment telling the Clippers fans to go home after the dunk, getting a tech for the team. I mean, again, he was great to have around. I hope that Denver doesn't waste their mid-level exception on him. I don't think that he's worth it. And it's going to be very tough if they do. Maybe he comes in for a cheaper deal, which I doubt he does. But he can also potentially start on some teams in the NBA. Maybe if he goes to the Wizards, if they trade Poole, he might be able to start over there. I saw an update today that the Bucks are looking at signing guys like Brogdon, Schroeder, etc. So I hope Denver's able to go out and get somebody. If they're not able to land a free agent point guard, I saw some talks in the comments 2 episodes ago, and I apologize in advance if I pronounce his name wrong. This is a guy who has no NBA experience, actually. Aleksa Avramović, Serbian point guard, 6'4". He played with Jokic in the Paris Olympics in 2024, went against the U.S. alongside Jokic against some of the best players in the world. Obviously, Team USA is being one of them. He shot 50% from the field, 25 from 3, averaged 4 assists, 2 steals, had 8.3 points, all in 18 minutes a game. Now, like I said, this is against some of the best talent in the world, the NBA players. So I know what everybody's saying. You know what? He's not going to be a point guard. He's 30, but so is Micic, and that's somebody I thought that Denver should bring in. Now, if you're able to pull a Facundo Campazzo move, I think is how you say his first name. I just knew him as Campu. If you're able to pull a Campu move and bring him in for 2 years on a contract and actually have him be a player who's going to go out and actually score a little bit, maybe facilitate. I was speaking to somebody in the comments about it, and they said that he's a faster point guard than Micic. Like I said, I don't know much about him since he is an overseas point guard, but at the same time, he's able to put up numbers against NBA players. Why not attempt to let him come in, let him be a chemistry builder for Jokic, because Jokic already likes playing with him, and sort of have that Serbian connection there if you're not able to get a guy like Bogdan, if you're not able to get a guy like Micic. So why not attempt to bring him in? In the EuroLeague last season, he shot 50% from the field, 29 from 3, averaged 10 points, 2 assists, and 1 steal. So obviously he's able to get that 1 steal game, which could be massive for Denver. At the same time, 10 points on 50% shooting from the field. I know I keep saying that Denver needs a shooter off the bench, which I do still agree with, but at the same time, now you need a ball handler, and this guy could be that. Aleksa could be a primary ball handler off the bench who can find his shot and find his mid-range shot, and he's a quicker point guard. Like I said, he has that defense now, so you have a guy that's able to come in for Murray. So this next topic I want to cover is potential guys that Denver should go out and target. And this is shout out to my boy Frank, one of my closest friends. He's a huge college basketball fan. I'm not the biggest college basketball fan, so looking at the draft, I just go based off pro player comps, obviously some stats, and people that look like they could fit Denver's system. So you look back at what Denver could do in the draft, and that's right now nothing, because you can't really trade into the draft, so why not target some undrafted players here? So My friend Frank broke down 4 players who can potentially be undrafted that Denver should really target. And those 4 are Kobe Bryant, who's a one-dimensional player, but he is a shooter, and Denver needs a sharpshooter off the bench. So if you're able to get somebody for relatively nothing, and he can come in and make a big difference for you and be a guy like Duncan Robinson, who's undrafted, who I actually said a couple episodes ago Denver should sign, why not go out and get that? And now you're playing him for basically no money, and he's a spot-up shooter. So go out and sign somebody like that if you're able to. The next guy is Mark Sears. He's an underrated small guard, but he's able to facilitate. This guy is again, like I said, primary ball handler. He can score a little bit. He might be undersized, but at the same time, if we get a guy who can facilitate around guys like Strother, guys like Watson, when Jokic doesn't have his minutes, or if Jamal needs a break and Aaron Gordon's still in there, and you can facilitate and throw a backdoor lob to Aaron Gordon, that's what Denver needs with Westbrook being gone. So this is another cheap, underrated signing. R.J. Lewis, St. John's native New York guy, or played in New York, rather. Very athletic wing. He can play defense. He improved his shooting a little bit. Again, super athletic wing. If you surround Jokic with guys who are coming off your bench who are super athletic, and you could throw backdoor lobs, like I said, with Aaron Gordon, with Jokic in the low post, that's why I'm huge on the Nuggets attempting to go out and get a guy like Derrick Jones Jr. or Amir Coffey, those lengthy bodies who are super athletic from the wing. And if you're able to develop those the 3-point shooting ability, then so be it. But that's why I think that Watson can produce. And if Watson can't be the offensive guy, why not go out and sign a guy like R.J. Lewis, who is, again, undrafted and cheap? These are all potential undrafted signings. Maybe they don't happen. Another guy that Frank told me to look at, which I actually like the idea of bringing him in if they're obviously not able to trade up and get a guy like Hanson Yang, is Eric Dixon. Frank found him a bit overrated, but he led the nation in scoring. He's a little bit older. He can have some scoring upside for a team that needs bench scoring, and that's what Denver needs in a big man. Like I said, if you're not able to go out and get a guy like Luke Cornett, or you're not able to go out and get a guy like Al Horford, or any of those kinds of players, or I mean, like I said, I would love Boucher. I know some people in the comments were saying Andre Drummond, and I covered that, and I think Andre Drummond would be perfect. But if you're not able to afford somebody like that, and you need an undrafted player, you need to get somebody in the draft, maybe go after Eric Dixon, who's a big man who led the entire nation in scoring. You need a backup scorer. Why not go get him for basically free? This last topic I want to cover today has to do something with one of the centers on Denver, and that is Dario Šarić. According to Zach Mycash of Denver Stiffs, which is powered by Mile High Sports, it seems the plan, if Dario Šarić decides to opt in and do the opposite of what Russell Westbrook did, the plan seems to be buying him out. Like I said in how many episodes now, we don't have a GM, Denver, so you don't really know what's going to happen. But if the plan is to buy out Dario Šarić, it seems that they're going to bring Trey Alexander back and give that roster spot to him, which I'm fine with. Like I said, I would love for Denver to go and develop Trey Alexander to be the backup point guard, even if it takes another year or two. Maybe go out and get a vet like Brogdon if you're able to, or another guy I'm going to cover next episode, so I'm not even going to say his name, but go out and get a point guard that if for a year for on a vet minimum, and then if you need to develop a guy like Trey Alexander, go ahead and do so. That's all I got for you guys today, Nuggets Nation. I will catch you guys next episode. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you got anybody you want me to cover, I'm actually going to cover somebody tomorrow that was asked that was written in the comments to attempt to cover him, so I'm going to do it tomorrow. So I'll catch you guys later, and have a good one.